Mkuu kiongozi
Excellencies,
balozi,
heads of state and government, retired presidents, fellows, excellencies, ambassadors and high commissioners, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tanzania. Welcome to Dar es Salaam. Above all, welcome to the 2013 Smart Partnership Dialogue. Your presence here today clearly demonstrates the importance you attach to this all-important movement. Please feel at home, away from home. We'll try our best to make your stay and participation as comfortable as possible. Excellencies, smart partners, ladies and gentlemen, I can't find words good enough to thank the organizers for agreeing to my proposal that the theme for this year's dialogue be leveraging technology for Africa's socio-economic transformation, the smart partnership way. I consider this theme very opportune indeed, for nothing compares to the application of science and technology to enabling African nations to successfully overcome the development challenges we face. The importance of technology for the socio-economic transformation and development of human societies needs no emphasis. It is a matter of fact that those societies and nations which have succeeded in anchoring successfully science and technology in their development processes have attained higher levels of development than those which have not been so successful. It is the extent to which a nation leverages modern science and technology which distinguishes developed nations from developing, underdeveloped, and poor nations. Unfortunately, African nations are lagging far behind in this regard. That is why they form the bulk of underdeveloped and poor nations on this planet. Time has come for that to change. We must change this sad situation. This year's theme, therefore, serves to underscore the centrality of technology in the growth and development of nations and its people. It behoves us to take development of science and technology seriously and anchor it in our development visions, in our plans, and in our strategies. Let me mention emphatically here that undertaking development endeavors without leveraging science and technology may be, and indeed it is, an exercise in futility. Fortunately, many countries in Africa are aware of the fact that development of science and technology is an important prerequisite for sustainable socio-economic development. At national level, African governments have adopted policies and have taken measures to nurture and promote development of science and technology in their respective countries. Many regional and continental programs and frameworks designed to promote technology have been put in place by our respective regional economic group communities and the African Union Commission. This demonstrates the awareness and commitment of the political leadership in Africa to advance science and technology. However, African nations are yet to be successful enough in anchoring and leveraging modern science and technology. Still, many African nations have limited access and therefore limited use of modern science and technology. As a result, many development challenges remain unresolved or take longer to be resolved. Africa's growth potential remains underutilized or even unutilized at all. Many African nations and peoples do not have financial resources to access modern technology. The African farmer, for example, knows clearly well, or fairly well, that a tractor is far superior than the hand hoe he is continuously using in enabling him to increase his acreage and therefore increase productivity and production. It can assure him food security, but it can also assure him increased incomes and therefore lift him from abject poverty. He knows too well also that high-yielding seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, and herbicides can do a lot to increase productivity in his farm. But unfortunately, he can't easily access these inputs. On the one hand, they may not be readily available where he lives. But poor as he is, he may not have the money to buy the inputs, because there is no reliable credit facilities available to the farmer to borrow and get these inputs. So the technology that can help the African farmer transform his life has eluded him. There are many similar examples and challenges in many sectors and fields where access to technology can make a huge difference. But governments and many people in Africa, unfortunately, cannot get access to. Getting access to technology remains a challenge because technology is not easily available in the first place. Technology is not homegrown. It has to be imported. And when available, it is not easily affordable to both governments and the people. So how to make technology available and affordable is a matter that I hope will be discussed seriously, and pertinent ways of overcoming the challenges will be sought during this dialogue. Africa cannot therefore continue to depend on imported technology. Africa has to find ways of building homegrown technology. There is therefore the critical issue of building local capacity for ownership and advancement of science and technology in Africa by African nations and by the people of Africa. How do we create our own technology base? How do we create our own knowledge base? How do we promote scientific innovation and discovery in Africa? Is a matter that we need to address during this dialogue. Obviously, it has to start with education. It has to start with the education system. First, we must ensure that all our young girls and boys have access to primary school education. We must also ensure that as many as possible get secondary and tertiary education. But more importantly, science education must be given top priority. We have to do everything possible to speedily overcome the challenges of acute shortage of science teachers in Africa, the acute shortage of science textbooks, the acute shortage of science laboratories and other teaching materials. Success in addressing these challenges will assure our country's success in the very first step of creating a critical mass of local scientists who will ultimately translate into giving Africa the capacity to leverage modern science and technology for our nation's growth and development. It will also help our nations to create an indigenous science and technology base, which is critical. Because there are instances that to get a particular scientific discovery or technology, you have to get the permission of the governments responsible, concerned. And if you're not a strategic partner for that case, they will simply say no. It is critical for us to be able to build our own local base. Besides this, we must promote and encourage innovations. We must, of necessity, invest more in research and development. Therefore, we must increase government and private sector budgetary allocations to research, to support research and innovations. We must also be able to support the innovators. I believe we can do it, and we must do it. And in supporting the innovators or promoting, I think we should also invest in our youth. At my age, investing in me I have very generous people. They always buy me new telephones. Now there is the Samsung S4, Samsung Galaxy S4. A few months ago, I changed from iPhone 4 to iPhone 5. Now they say, no. Now there is a new one. But I have these gadgets. I use them for getting calls or making calls and for sending messages. Beyond that, on the screens, there are so many beautiful icons there. But I only use the contact where I save the message, the names, to make calls, to receive messages and send messages. So, investing a lot in me. Well, I do something on Twitter from time to time. But I'm saying, again, it's the same thing, chatting. But there is so much that you can use with these gadgets. But my sons, however small they are, my children, they come and teach me. if you give him this gadget, after a few minutes, he'll just operate it. I'll need lessons from him for 3-4 days. So that's why I said, okay, fine. For us, teach us to be somehow to become technology savvy, but we should invest in our youth. This is their time. And if we invest in them, Africa has the future in scientific and technological development. Should invest in their education, science and technology education, but we should also invest in innovation, their innovation, and invest in them as innovators. Three, 4 years ago, we decided to increase money in scientific research and development. But one of the things that we embarked on is the incubators. These guys told me that there is something is called incubators. If I was not told what it is, I would have thought that someone taking eggs, putting them in an incubator, and after 21 days you get chicks. But these are different eggs altogether. It is investing in our young men and women. We've done that at the Commission of Science and Technology. Mr. Mulamula is here. Dr. Mshinda. So far, they have succeeded in creating some prominent guys. Max, Max Malipo, where are you? Stand up. That young man, Max Malipo, who has gone beyond Tanzanian borders now, is a product of the investment we have done in that young man. Day one, where are you? Day one, Another one? I think there are 3 already. So, it is investments in young men like these ones that will proceed. The incubators is the way to go. This is the way to go. We have got to invest that. I'm sure in the next few years we will have a lot of these technologies that are now going to become homegrown because they have created innovations that are used in Tanzania and that they are used beyond Tanzania. Time has come to advance science and technology and anchor it properly for Africa's development endeavors. The economies of many African countries are doing better these days than they were many years back. So there is no reason why we should not do it. But even if we are not so rich, there is a Swahili saying, katapua unge wajihi. That if you want to beautify your face, and if it needs to cut a bit of the nose, do it. Then you become much more beautiful. All that this saying is saying actually is make some sacrifices. Be ready to make some sacrifices in order to make advancement in life. Even if we are poor nations, we should make sacrifices and invest in research, development, innovation in science and technology. It will pay dividends in the longer term. All that is required of us is to put in place robust national policies, as well as regional, continental frameworks to promote science, technology, and innovation in our continent. We should also make use of South-South cooperation to support Africa's endeavors. The truth of the matter is, where and when it may not be easy to get access to modern technology from the developed countries, some countries in the South can readily do that. We may not be able to buy the expensive drugs, but you can get the generics from India and save lives. So we can work with countries like India, Malaysia, China, and all these other developing countries, and be able to build and advance science and technology on the continent. Ladies and gentlemen, the Smart Partnership Dialogue can easily facilitate that. But we should also use our collective voice from this dialogue and of the many regional and global fora that we are members or we participate to pitch for easing or removal of barriers to access to technology. Barriers to transfer of technology from the developed world to the developing countries. In the long term, however, we must work towards building local technological base. One other way of making quick progress in this is to tap the experience and expertise of Africans in the diaspora, of people, all people of African origin in the diaspora, who happen to be in their hundreds of millions. We may not be able to reverse the brain drain anytime soon, but we can find ways to benefit from the knowledge these Africans and people of African descent who live abroad possess. Today, in one of the 29ers session, there was a young man, a Tanzanian, very young man. Uko wapi wewe? Hebu simama. Yeah, that one there. I think he was born there, but now he has been encouraged enough. He's come back. They've set up something on IT with his fellows. Now we are using that. From the diaspora, he's come back. We have a number of these guys. We have to look, identify them, encourage them to come back. Certainly they have something to offer. The diaspora could be one of our bases of a stepping board towards development of science and technology in Africa. But some of our people think they don't matter. Nasema si waliondoka wenyewe, wache na wakae huko huko tu. Wanataka kunufaika kote na kote. No, I was saying, and I know my fellow Tanzanians know that, there was a time we were discussing the issue of dual citizenship. To give dual citizenship let's discuss the issue of giving dual citizenship to our Tanzanians who are living abroad. Oh, very negative reaction. So why? They left on their own. Now they want to take benefits from both. Hataka kufaidi huku na huku. Wakae huko huko. Leave them there. But I believe this is a group that we can really give access to, make use of that group. They can make a huge difference. Because some of them are highly pressed. Some of them have gained a lot of competence, a lot of knowledge, which the people up there are benefiting. So we said, okay, fine, you remain there, but at least let's make use of the knowledge that we have acquired for the development of our respective countries. But we should also encourage the establishment of universities and the institutions of science and technology to train the human resource that we need for development. When Wolfensohn was president of the World Bank, President Mandela visited him. And in his discussions with him, he said, one of the contributions that you can make to assist fast development, growth and development in Africa is the establishment of science and technology institutions. Wolfensohn took up that, talked to the Africans in the World Bank. At that time, a Tanzanian lady was a vice president in the World Bank. Hai and Ngozi of Nigeria were given the assignment. The matter was later discussed in the African Union. And there was a decision to establish 4 institutions. One in the West, one in the East, another one in the South, and another one in the North. The decision at the beginning was, let the West and the Eastern institutions be the first ones to take off. Well, we tried to ask for support. We couldn't get. Then I took a decision that we are going to build that university ourselves. We have done it. We call it the Nelson Mandela Institute of Science and Technology. The Vice President, who is himself a nuclear scientist, is the Chancellor of that university. I visited them. A lot of innovation is going on. You'll be impressed with what these young men and women from this continent are actually doing. Very creative, very innovative, very practical solutions to the challenges that we are facing of our development in industry, in agriculture, in mining, in water, in electricity, you name it. But we need to build more and more of these institutions. Because at the beginning, when I came into office, and I was handed over this docket by Mzee Mkapa, and the history that it came from the World Bank. I thought the World Bank would give us money to build the institution. We approached them and said, no, we only gave ideas. Now that you have adopted those ideas, well, the construction is your business. But so far, so good. We have the institution. But I believe we have got to do more and more of this on the continent. I'm sure we'll have created a critical scientific and technological base. That's it. The institute is there, is for Africa. All African countries who are interested, send their young men and women there. They will be trained. The Nigerian one has already taken off. The Dar es Salaam one has taken off. We are waiting for the construction of the remaining 2 institutions. But why should they be 2? President Bongo can build another one in Gabon for the Central African region. Let's just build as many as we can, because at the end of the day, it's an investment that will never go to waste. It's an investment that will help promote growth and development on our country. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm aware that in the course of our meeting, we will discuss all these issues and chart the way forward that will ensure the continent invests more in science and technology. We will explore and clarify issues on how technology interacts with other inputs to impact on growth and development. We will share our experiences in acquiring, using, and developing technology in improving the quality of life of our societies and our peoples. In the process, we will build a network of development actors within our continent who are knowledgeable and committed in developing and using technology for improving the welfare of their countries on a sustainable basis. Ladies and gentlemen, in the coming 3 days, we'll have time to reflect our past, present, and future prospects on how to manage technology for our development. I'm sure we will do our best to come out with new ideas, innovative ideas to promote science and technology on the continent. Indeed, the future looks promising as the people of Africa will gain control over their destinies. This future is in the hands of science and technology, the mother of civilization, of arts, of science. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Welcome, and let's wish ourselves very successful deliberations. Thank you.